the start, you have Young jumping in the water. And there's river rapids in this film as well. There's loads of water everywhere.
Jackie Chan really can't swim.
Yeah, as they said in the bloopers at the end. So after Night Before, then I'm gonna put Cutthroat Island, then Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Mindhunters. I think I'm putting far above where anyone else would put Mindhunters, but I really enjoyed Mindhunters.
That's a blast, man. Watching that again, I love that movie. Kidding me?
Die Hard 2, Long Kiss Goodnight, Cliffhanger, Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, I like it. And what do you think about the scene where they blow up the inflatable pigs? Like, that's an actual thing that is used. They're not really inflatable pigs, but I think I don't know, I think it's interesting.
That's another one of those scenes where they're having a conversation and they just cut to inflatable pigs. And it's like, well, there was no explanation as to what they're doing it for. You kind of get it throughout the scene that they're trying to blow up these things to make a raft, and they look up and go, "Is that what we're trying to do? Let's just take that one." As it's just, it's an excuse for Knoxville to get a "what part of the pig am I blowing into here?" Joke out of it. But I found it very odd. Just like again, this film's edited to death. It's so cut up. You could easily get a 2.5-hour film out of this without adding any more scenes. Just adding a bit more exposition and explanation as to what's going on in the scenes without losing any kind of... Well, you might gain some flow, I don't know.
With so I want the hour-and-a-half version of this movie.
You want to lose 17 minutes?
I want the hour and 3-minute cut.
Oh, yeah, I'm not asking for another 45 minutes of the film. I'm just saying you could quite easily... There's enough action here to warrant it, perhaps.
Okay, you could take out Young. You could take out Bing Bang's role. You could take out... keep Winston Chow.
I think you need to keep Bing Bing a little bit because she's the reason that Connor Watts turns back and helps. One of the numerous times where he turns around, because their relationship between Benny and Connor is they're constantly fighting, but then trying to run away from each other, then fighting, run away. They just keep flipping from together, not together, not together, and it's a little frustrating. It happens many times, but she's the reason that because Connor keeps saying that Benny needs a family, he needs to do something with his family, and the only family he has is Samantha, kind of. God, anyway, I suppose you could lose her and explain it away some other way. Perhaps.
I like when Benny is like, I had a fiance 9 years ago. And it's like, you had a fiance when you were 51? Like, what's, I'm not saying ageism, maybe he's addicted to the job.
Also, Jackie Chan does not look 60 in this film. He looks 50, maybe. So.
50, but I feel like Benny is like a 38-year-old character in my mind.
Yeah, I see that.
Right? Benny is not a 50-year-old character. But, listen, for all those things, there's a couple of things that I really like to listen to the commentary that make all this better. I like what Renny said about he went over there and he just hired. He's like, I could have gone over there with a Hollywood crew, but instead he's like, screw that. He's like, I went over there and I hired pretty much a 90% Chinese crew because they know the land, they know the work. If I just brought over all English speaking people, there would just be more problems on set. So that's another thing I respected on him because when I started work in Georgia, we would be working on films and we'd have LA people here and be like, oh, Georgia crews suck. And then they would bring in more LA people. And then the LA people would clash with the Atlanta people. And it was just a nightmare having the two different kind of groups working together. So I really respected Renny I feel like when he went over there, he just embraced the way of work and the crews. But he also said, he's like, they work 6 days a week out there and you could just work them all day. And Renny's like, I love that. So well, Renny, I don't know if they love that, but he was really happy that his crews worked 7 days a week for him, which, yeah, I guess that's good if you're a director.
Have you seen Legend of the Ancient Sword, his next film after this?
I have not.
It's also in China. Okay.
Yeah, because when he did the commentary, he's like, I moved over here. He's like, but then I loved it so much I've stayed and I'm making more movies. So he actually made a fresh one over there. He's made a couple decent which one did he make? Renny Harlin.
He made The Misfits. He's made recently, but
with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, which I haven't seen. But yeah, so after Skiptrace, he did Legend of the Ancient Sword, Bodies at Rest.
Yeah, Bodies at Rest has an 83% score.
Okay.
Like people, yeah, they're saying it's just a good action movie.
Nice. So that's the two kind of, I'm guessing Chinese language ones he's made, and then the Misfits, like we said, it's kind of international with Piers Brosnan at the start at the helm, and then Class Reunion 3, part of the Class Reunion franchise, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
And then he's got 3 films in development: The Bricklayer, Inspector Palmu, and The Refuge. Which I don't.
I mean, I'm gonna watch them all. And I mean, I gotta watch Bodies at Rest now.
Well,
I've been meaning to get to that.
The Refuge has Jason Fleming in it, and I love Jason Fleming, so I'll watch him in anything. So I just need all of these films to pop up on some streaming service I have, and I'll watch them.
Oh, this is going to be Renny at his best. While working in the morgue, a forensic expert and his assistant are accosted by masked intruders who demand access to a body. Easy. You work in a morgue, people want the body.
Yeah, simple. Don't need any of this phone nonsense.
But you know what I love about Renny, though? His movies are never simple. Like, we talk about this movie could have been a Midnight Run type movie. But, like, let's go back and look through some of it. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, right? It gets wildly convoluted. There's a death scene where a woman's working out, and then arms break, and then she becomes a cockroach who gets smushed in a cockroach hotel. It's not, and then Die Hard 2. You have, like, there's so much going on in Die Hard 2.
Yeah, I mean, Die Hard 2 is maybe too complicated as well. Like, Die Hard 1 is simple, and like, there's people taking over the building, turns out they're actually just thieves. That's as complicated as it gets. Die Hard 2, it has extra layers that you don't really need, I think.
Yeah.
But it's still like, fun. I still like it a lot.
Oh, it's a beautiful movie. But Cliffhanger, that's probably its... But then Cliffhanger, you have the whole subplot with him and Rooker. And then you don't just have, like, I feel like in Cutthroat Island, there's so much to it. Long Kiss Goodnight, the amnesia.
Scalp maps.
And the road trip, and it's just...
Ford Fairlane is convoluted as anything. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I love that episode you recorded. They're like, I could explain the plot in 5 minutes.
No, we couldn't.
Yeah, it's. I think Renny, he does make quite complicated. Covenant too.
Yep.
Like that's.
He doesn't do simple
I think
films.
Deep Blue Sea, right, is the easiest one. Genetically modified sharks attack.
People are trying to get out. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you have the twist of they're hurting you. Which is
Cliffhanger. A mountain climber helps robbers get their cash that fell out of a plane.
Yeah. Driven sounds like it would be pretty straightforward. I haven't seen Driven.
No.
Oh dear. Okay.
This is what you need to do.
Oh no.
Buy Driven on DVD.
No.
And there's Sylvester Stallone does a commentary for the hour of footage that he was in that was cut from the movie.
Oh my god.
So in it, he's like, this makes it a lot of a better movie. He's like, you watch this and like, that was my scene and he cut it. And so it was an entire other movie about this washed up driver that Renny Harlin cut.
So I need to not only buy Driven and watch Driven, but also watch the hour of bonus features with the commentary.
Sylvester Stallone felt the need to record a commentary for deleted footage.
Okay.
That's never happened. Jay, you know how many movies I've researched and watched? That has never
that's rare.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it's in stock at a secondhand shop near me. God damn it. There's no reason not to get it.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just it's gnarly, man. But that's what I like about Renny. I feel like the movies always he's not content with killing somebody. Like, he's not content with just biting off a scientist's arm. That scientist then has to be put on a gurney and used as a battering ram. He's not.
And then still survives that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And then you have Cliffhanger where there's a thing on a mountain, but on an upside down helicopter. It is just like Renny loves his layers. And I think in the right scenario, he's like a perfect match with Knoxville or Jackie Chan because they love the intricate stunts. They love building to some things that are intricate. So, yeah, I mean, there should be a match made in heaven, but there's way too many Renny wasn't Renny on this. I think Renny just had to get this movie made.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
He was a director for hire here rather than picking a project that he loved, I think.
Yeah. but I still think he delivered a movie that, listen, I think 38%, I wouldn't put this movie above, like, I don't think this movie deserves to be fresh, right? It should not be over 60%. I also don't see it being like 55 or above. But I think this movie should at least be in like the 44 percentile or 44 to 46 percentile.
Well,
because there's stuff to like.
It's Rotten Tomatoes, so I can understand everybody watching this film not liking it. So if this had a 0%, I would understand that.
Yeah,
because so that's the thing with Rotten Tomatoes. I think it has its place in the film criticism world. I have nothing against it at all. It's just I can understand any film getting any score pretty much, because all it takes is everybody to just agree. Like, yeah, I didn't like this, because if everyone was giving it a score out of 100, say, then yeah, I feel like this would be anywhere between 30 to 55.
Okay, so IMDb, it's 5.7 out of 10.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
No, that's far too close to Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah. You know what though? You know what's interesting? Like, if it was in the 40 percentile on Rotten Tomatoes, I'd be fine with it. But on IMDb, anything below a 4 would be really mean. So I think 5.7 is about perfect for Skiptrace.
Right. Deep Blue Sea has a 5.9.
Oh,
and I would say Skiptrace is way more than 0.2 worse than Deep Blue Sea.
No, you're right.
But then this is the problem here is that Deep Blue Sea only has a 5.9. That should
I don't understand.
A 12.
I was a guest on so Megan's work. They have a podcast, and I'm the only I'm the only third time guest that they've had. I went and recorded with them, and I told them about Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, and people started laughing. And Jay, there's just a narrative out there where Deep Blue Sea is a bad movie. I'm telling you, it is a set narrative. When people hear Deep Blue Sea, it's so bad it's good. No, but that's the narrative. Yeah, that's the narrative that's been set, and it's very annoying.
Yep.
And how do you watch Deep Blue Sea and say this is not a good product that I just watched?
You're asking the wrong person. I don't know. I've only ever loved it.
Man. Gosh.
But yeah, I've explained the podcast. I've explained the podcast to people before, and they've like, wait, you talk about Deep Blue Sea every week? It's like, yeah, it's great. What are you like? Why are you confused? Because we're the first people to do this. There should be thousands of podcasts.
I'm telling you, man, it's such a good. And people are starting to like Too Fast, Too Forever, a show that I've been on to talk about the Fast and Furious movies. Someone the other day was talking about Deep Blue Sea, and someone commented on one of his tweets, like, Deep Blue Sea needs to be a podcast. Like, there's an audience out there for it. I think it's growing. I think people are starting to realize
them. Like, hello.
Yeah, hey. Like, Deep Blue Sea is good. And I think my theory why this movie has not a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 5.7 on IMDb is that there are moments like that. Let's say you watch this movie and at least for me, when you step away from it, I was thinking about the cheeky Russian doll moment. I was thinking about the set piece of the three-wheeler slowing down on the hill. I was thinking about the moment with the horse. Like, there's some inspired gags. And so after this movie's over, I think it just lingers in my memory nicely because it's just a good movie. But when I'm watching it and Jackie Chan's lambasting Knoxville for the 40th time about his terrible parents, you're like, what is going on? Like, I think some movies do live on better in your memory.
Yeah. Yeah, if you just look at the action scenes and then put your own narrative together as to how they're connected, I think that's a better film.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because like, you have a whole scene where, like, when Jackie Chan gets arrested towards the end of it, and Knoxville pretends to be his lawyer to break him out, he manages to somehow get him to the office of Jackie Chan's colleague, so they can look at the computer, and then they escape from there. But it's never really. There's just a lot of hoops we're not seeing being jumped through as to how these things are connected. It's like, wait a minute, he was in prison a minute ago. He's still technically in prison, but now I don't understand what's happening here.
Him saying Kramer versus Kramer, that was funny.
Yes,
that was a good bit.
You're about to be very familiar with the Kramer versus Kramer case, yeah.
Like, that's because I'm always dropping Kramer versus Kramer, so that made me happy to hear. I think sometimes when you just put two likable people on screen and the movie isn't good, it's